It is my time. I am worth it. I can do this. I am focused.
Hey sis, it's your girl Makisha with Sistahbiz Global Network, and I am here today to talk about how to build engaging and fun webinar workshops. So first, can we just say, it is real out in those streets. It is real out in these streets right now with the Rona. This pandemic really has us really rethinking everyday life. And as part of that, as small business owners, we're having to rethink how we do business, how we serve our clients, how we create events, how we manage and operate teams. And it's a lot. So I thought I'd offer a few tips for those of you who have in-person workshops and events that you do. Give you a few tips around how you can transition that same fire and energy into an online webinar experience. Well, at least to the best of your ability. So it's a 3-part series, and the first thing that I want to chat with you about is sort of like the strategy around webinars. And so my advice to you is the first thing you want to do is write down a list of all the things that are exciting, engaging, fun about your current in-person events. Because then you're going to make a list right alongside that really details how you're going to take each of those elements and transition them to an online experience in a webinar. And so what are some things you might do to substitute to create the same effect for each item? And so that's the first step. The second step that I want to offer you is to really think about how to create an environment that is fun and engaging upon arrival. And so something that we do with our business boot camps, because child, let me tell you, when the Rona came, we had a 4-week boot camp that we were in the midst of. Smack dead in the middle of the boot camp, we had to take everything online to Zoom. And so we really knew that we wanted to preserve the same energy when people come into our boot camp. There's fun, there's love, there's sisterhood, people arrive, there's music, there's food, there's drink. There are prompts for you to set up your laptop and fill out any necessary forms. We want you to network, hug, and put some love on somebody, and just, everybody getting to know each other and that sort of thing. So we were like, well, if you're online and you're at home, how can we create that same experience? And so the first thing for us was to make sure that we had our Black Girl Magic music in rotation. And so when people arrive to the webinar, there's music playing. And so that seems like a small thing, but that really can create a mood and an atmosphere. I will note that one thing to note for us, at least in the way that we leverage Zoom and our experience of Zoom, is that it was better to play the music from the computer that the webinar was on than to play it in the background. In terms of the quality of what the participant heard on the other end. However, if you play music from your computer that the webinar is on, just be careful not to mute your computer, because then it may impact if the participant can actually hear the music on their end. So the way to check and see if that's what's happening is to have your team test it on the other end prior to the webinar. So then the second thing that I want to suggest that you do as far as the opening goes is to have a set of rotating slides. And the slides are basically going to have different tasks or prompts for people to see and take advantage of or listen to when they come into the webinar and as people are logging in. And so, for instance, you're going to ask them to do some basic housekeeping stuff, like make sure you have a charger, go use the restroom, get your glass of wine or your cup of coffee or whatever it is that you're going to drink, your bottled water or whatever, and sort of give them slides that are prompting them to remember to do these things while we wait. Another thing is to have them test out some of the features. So have some of the slides note, like, this is how you raise your hand. This is how you, write in the chat box. Go ahead and try it out. Something else that you could prompt them to do is type their name and information, city, state, Instagram handle in the chat box. And then that is, kind of just giving them something to do while people stroll in a way that you don't actually have to man that. The rotating slides are fun and engaging, and have them doing that sort of thing. And then another thing that the slides can do that are just as important is encourage them to interact with each other. And so having them maybe choose one person out of the chat thread that they want to privately message and get to know prior to the start of the event. And so giving them the instructions to do that, giving them instructions in the slide to follow at least 2 other people in the group on Instagram. And so those sorts of things are helping them to get to know each other and connect with the other folks in the group. You can ask fun trivia questions or icebreaker type questions, and have them do that while, people are starting to stroll in. If you set it up so that it's in an automated set of slides, meaning the slides are rotating in an automated fashion, and that's what they see when they come in and hear the music and get engaged, you can then be free to get ready for your webinar. You can be free to get your PowerPoint ready, go through your tech checklist and make sure your audio and everything is good. You could be doing, your meditation and getting your mind right. You could also be in your email box, making sure that there are no last minute emails from folks who can't figure out how to log in or find their registration information. And so these are some things you can do to just get started with your strategy and build a strong opening for your webinar. For more tips on how to really dig into during the webinar, dig into engaging in interactive work, check out our next couple of videos in this series on fun and engaging webinars. So if this was helpful to you, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on IG, and if you want to check out our business boot camps, definitely check us out at www.sistahbiz/events.